Good Monday morning, April 29th, everyone. Hope everybody's having a wonderful start to their work week out there. My name is Hunter here with Weather on the Go, and in today's weather forecast, we're going to be looking at more severe weather chances, and we're going to be going over a complete breakdown of that as well with the severe weather setup, the timing of the storms, and what to expect from those storms as well. We're also going to be looking at your weekend forecast as it's getting nicer outside. It's going to be getting into early May. So we're going to be looking at your temperatures and your precipitation forecast through the weekend time frame, and it looks very active as we go into next week with the weather pattern. We'll be diving into those details later on in today's video. Well, thank you all for joining here on this Monday morning, Monday afternoon, whenever you're watching this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below if you are new. If you like detailed, accurate weather forecasts, we'll keep you covered right here on this channel. Also, be sure to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below. It truly does help out more than you know. So let's look at those temperatures out the door this morning. And you can see warmer air across the eastern United States here, especially for areas into the Ohio Valley, in through the southeast here, and even parts of the southern plains, waking up to temperatures well into the 50s, if not the 60s here this morning. A little bit cooler to the west. We have temperatures back here into the 30s and 40s from the Rockies up there into the high plains, and then back across the Pacific Northwest, keeping us a bit cooler this morning. Heading into the afternoon, temperatures will warm up. Another nice spring-like day across portions of the plains here from the central and southern plains. A little bit warmer down here and toward the Rio Grande Valley. Temperatures nearing 100 down into south central Texas this afternoon. And we're seeing a couple 80s out here into the mid-Atlantic here in and around Maryland, Virginia there, and into parts of Delaware as we go into this afternoon. Almost a summertime feel out there. That warm air will lead to some storm action across the southern U.S. today. We have a marginal risk, level 1 out of 5 on the severe risk scale across portions of Mississippi, into Louisiana, and far south Texas here. And there could be a couple rotating thunderstorms as well in and around the New Orleans region up there toward Hattiesburg and Gulfport, Mississippi there into southern Louisiana and southern Mississippi. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's look at the timing here. This morning we have an MCS, a mesoscale convective system, moving across Louisiana, bringing some gustier winds, but some very heavy rainfall as well. We have a couple showers and a few thunderstorms up here from Michigan down through Indiana and southern Illinois. Those will likely not pose any risk for severe weather, but some heavy downpours can be expected. As we go into the afternoon, we'll see storms lighting up the radar across the Ohio Valley, especially the western Ohio Valley up here into western Ohio, Indiana, into downstate Illinois, western Kentucky, and then kind of along the Mississippi River down through the Memphis region as we go through the afternoon. Watching out for a few rotating storms as they move through Louisiana into Mississippi this afternoon. And then going into this evening, storms become a little bit more numerous. That low-level jet starts to crank up a bit, but severe weather is not expected because instability values up here into the Tennessee River Valley, the Ohio River Valley, will actually be quite low for that. So that's some good news. No severe weather expected there, but some heavy rainfall. And you can see here's our rainfall amounts going from now through Tuesday morning. Decent rains from the Ohio Valley down here through the Tennessee Valley and the deep south. Some areas picking up over an inch of rain, so make sure to watch out for the flash flooding threat as we go through Tuesday morning. Speaking of Tuesday, we have a new trough inroads here to the Pacific Northwest, and this is actually going to kind of stall out across the Pacific Northwest by the midweek time frame. But downstream, we are seeing that ridge of high pressure and kind of the battleground, if you will, of colder temperatures to the west, warmer temperatures to the east, and that's going to set up another round of severe weather here from the Midwest all the way down through the southern plains here. And we do have a slight risk of severe weather on Tuesday. This is for tomorrow across southern Minnesota, southeastern South Dakota, eastern Nebraska, again, western Iowa, areas that have been unfortunately hard hit by severe weather the last few days. That stretches back down into northeastern Kansas and northwest Missouri. So the Des Moines area back here toward Omaha and southward toward Kansas City. And then that marginal risk, level 1 out of 5, extending further south through the southern plains, into Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Lawton and Fort Sill, Wichita Falls, and perhaps back here towards Midland, Texas as we go into Tuesday. Here are the hazards for the severe weather potential. We could be seeing some severe wind gusts over 75 miles per hour, those hurricane force winds up here across southern Minnesota, western Iowa, extreme southeastern South Dakota, and eastern Nebraska. Also some very large hailstones, hen egg size or larger, that is 2 inches in diameter or larger here, especially again into southwestern portions of Minnesota, western Iowa, eastern portions of Nebraska, and into northeastern Kansas, and near the triple point where you have the low pressure system, the warm front moving north, and the cold front moving in. We could have a few rotating storms and tornadoes here up around the Omaha region, stretching back to Des Moines as well once again on Tuesday. Let's look at the setup here for severe weather. So as we go into Tuesday afternoon, dew points will be advecting northward into the 50s and some 60s. Not as robust of a warm sector as with the last storm, but still contributing to around 1,000, 2,000 joules per kilogram of instability on Tuesday. And we have to look at the wind profile. So the low-level jet here in the 850 millibar layer will already be over 40 knots Tuesday afternoon, helping to organize and rotate some of these storms. And you can see those significant tornado parameter space is over 1. It's greater than 1 here near the triple point, especially across northern and northwestern Iowa. So we need to keep an eye on that between Omaha and Des Moines. And then as we go into Tuesday evening, notice the low-level jet starts to crank up a little bit stronger here as it naturally does deeper into the night, over 50 knots here. That will eventually increase some of those significant tornado parameter values a little bit stronger, especially with southward extent toward the better instability for Tuesday evening. Let's look at the timing of the storms on Tuesday. So Tuesday morning, we're pretty quiet out here. As we go into the afternoon, a lot of lift near the low-pressure system here in the triple point, and then we have a lot of wind shear up here. So we're watching some supercells that could develop there into northeastern Nebraska and northwestern Iowa, and perhaps even extreme southeastern South Dakota there. Those could pose a risk for tornadoes as we have enhanced wind shear near that low pressure system. As we go into Tuesday evening, these storms will have a tendency to drop southeastward toward the better instability axis, toward the Kansas City metro area into southern Iowa and northern Missouri. These would pose more of a risk for damaging winds and large hail, but a few tornadoes can still be expected as these drop south and eastward through Tuesday evening. As we go into Wednesday, another slight risk of severe weather here from southern Nebraska through much of central and eastern Kansas into western Oklahoma and the eastern Texas panhandle around the Topeka region, Wichita, Dodge City, all the way down toward Elk City, Oklahoma here, and toward the Vernon, Texas region on Wednesday. Significant severe weather is possible, very large hail, very strong winds, and few tornadoes, maybe even a strong tornado may be possible on Wednesday, especially considering some of these parameters. You can see the dew points advecting north well into the 60s, even 70-degree dew points up here into Kansas on Wednesday. Very strong instability up around 3,000, even 4,000 joules per kilogram there on Wednesday afternoon and evening. We already have a robust low-level jet Wednesday afternoon over 40 knots. You can see that's going to contribute to those significant tornado parameter values over 1 here, especially for central and eastern Kansas back into western Oklahoma. And then it really starts to strengthen with that low-level jet Wednesday evening. This could lead to a strong 70-knot low-level jet there across the plains and increased tornado potential from Kansas down into western Oklahoma and the eastern Texas panhandle Wednesday evening. Timing here, pretty quiet in the morning on Wednesday, although we could have a few showers as that warm front tries to lift northward. As we go into the afternoon, isolated supercells possible here across the central plains, watching all hazards for severe weather, large hail, damaging winds, and a couple tornadoes. But more robust development as we go into the evening hours here as that cold front and dry line moves in, and that's where we could see more severe weather from Nebraska southward through Kansas and then western Oklahoma, the eastern Texas panhandle. And another thing that we want to talk about, a lot of the severe weather events so far in the plains further south into Oklahoma and especially Texas this year have been more isolated but significant at times. It's because of the drought out here in New Mexico. We have a significant drought out here, and that is leading to an elevated mix layer, or what you call an EML, And the stronger that EML is, the more of a cap the atmosphere is going to have. So think of a lid on top of a pot of boiling water. That's what the atmosphere is doing here. A lot of these severe weather events this season, and we can see that start to get removed, that lid. And if it happens, then severe weather will be possible. But I expect more of an isolated mode of severe weather the further south you go because of that lid on the atmosphere once more. And then going into early Thursday morning, we have a mesoscale convective system up here, mainly a wind and hail threat from Iowa back down through Kansas, but a couple isolated supercells in Oklahoma and Texas could pose the risk for all hazards. Again, large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes. Going into Thursday, the warm sector gets pulled all the way up here to the upper Midwest toward Wisconsin into eastern Iowa and Illinois. We'll keep an eye on the instability. A little bit weaker looking instability on Thursday. If the atmosphere recovers, we could be seeing a line of some severe storms from Wisconsin through Iowa into Missouri there on Thursday. We'll keep an eye on that. Going into Friday, cold front shifts further east into the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, dew points into the 60s there. Again, very weak instability. We'll see if we can see any severe weather with an occluding low pressure system pretty far removed from that. I would think that the severe weather threat on Friday would be more isolated to Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky, and very isolated coverage here, pretty weak as well. As we go into the weekend, here's your forecast for temperature anomalies. You can see most of us around normal to slightly above normal with our temperature anomalies there. Heading into Saturday, temperatures into the 70s ahead of that cold front here. A little bit cooler behind it, but still 50s here across portions of the high plains and upper Midwest on Saturday. Sunday, temperatures warming up in those areas in the 50s on Saturday. Will warm into the 60s on Sunday, and a lot of 70s and 80s to go around across the eastern two-thirds of the country by then. Saturday, we see a couple fronts moving through here. We got, of course, that occluding low that was for Thursday and Friday up here into Canada. That will kind of lead to a diffuse cold front across the eastern U.S. Pretty heavy rain setup out here across the southeast and the Carolinas perhaps on Saturday. A couple showers from the upper Midwest down into the central plains, and then very active out here into the Pacific Northwest on Saturday in the Washington State and Oregon. Even some higher elevation snow for the Cascades there. Going into Sunday, we got a lot of low pressure systems moving through the U.S. Pretty active weather as we go to the end of the weekend. That could contribute to some heavier rains for the middle of the country, but that heavy rain setup from western Virginia through the western and central Carolinas and eastern Georgia could contribute to over 3 or 4 inches worth of rain just Saturday the 4th and Sunday the 5th of May, so we'll keep an eye on that. Going into next week, Monday, May 6th through Sunday, May the 12th, you can see ridge of high pressure builds across the southern and central plains, warmer than normal temperatures here, a little cooler for the northeast here with the remnants of our low pressure systems from the weekend. And then more lows and more troughs moving in across portions of the west as we go into next week. That will contribute to some below normal temperatures out there. Very active, though, across the Pacific Northwest for Seattle, Portland, down towards the Sacramento Valley. Over top of that ridge, we'll see an active jet stream, so we'll see more showers and storms. Watching for severe weather potential as well across the upper Midwest. If we can build an instability reservoir across the southern U.S. over top of that ridge, we could start to see severe weather into next week. And the ensemble guidance is pointing in the direction of active weather for the upper Midwest into the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley over top of that ridge as we go from May 6th through May 12th, Monday through Sunday timeframe. So we'll keep a close eye on that. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new down there as well. To the channel, so subscribe there, like the video down below. I definitely appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Monday out there.